All right, good evening and welcome back to your view with me on Kopotse. Tabane. It's an open line tonight at past, so you can ring us on 010-594-5140. Anything on your mind? Of course, the big story for today, the new mayor of Johannesburg. Congratulations to Jeff Makubo for being elected there in the council today after the wrangling that lasted a week about how that mayor is going to be elected. Fortunately, he's already been here to tell us his vision about this for the city of Johannesburg, and of course, we will be following with interest what the ANC is going to do after 3 years of drought, sitting on the opposition branches. What are they going to do with the remaining 2 years before they go back to the electorate to seek another mandate? A lot of people, and I was very fascinated by what Jeff Makubo had to say on the show on Sunday, that the ANC has gone back to the people to listen, right? And the question is, what did the ANC hear? It's one thing to listen, because all politicians use it as a PR thing. You know, politicians hardly listen, right? But it's a good thing if they think it's a good idea to listen to the people, right? And the will be able to decipher whether indeed the ANC used the time that they were in the opposition benches Jeff Makubo himself acknowledged have been done in the city of Johannesburg, right, will be built on. In other words, he will build on it. We want to see what's going to happen to projects like cleaning projects such as Boarsebe saying. We want to see what's going to happen to the strengthening of the JMPD, the strengthening of the fight against corruption. We are told that there are over 6,000 corruption cases in the city. Will the Jeff Makubo administration pursue those cases to the end to make sure and encourage the powers that be to prosecute those who have been stealing the money of the people of Johannesburg for years? Those are some of the things that we look forward to. But of course, congratulations today are in order. We look forward to seeing who he's going to pick as his mayoral committee to be able to carry forward the aspirations of the people of Johannesburg. Well, and of course we hope to be joined by the mayor next week, as he promised, join us out in the streets to talk to you as the citizens of Johannesburg sometime next week, and hopefully we'll be joined there. Goes deep into the festive season this year. So we hope to be talking to the mayor in the coming week to ensure that we can engage him on his plans. By that time, I'm sure he would have already announced his mayoral committee, and we could also talk to some of the mayoral committee members to just try to get to know who the new leadership is going to be. So, South African Airways is in a mess. Hey, it's in a mess. Actually, I don't want to talk about. I want to talk about S. You know, once they say business rescue, the polite way of saying to you, it's now lights out. Because which travel agent is going to take its passengers from around the world and book them on SAA that may well be liquidated? Because this is step one towards liquidation. Sometimes people use business rescue as a way of avoiding liquidation, which is quite a bad idea. Because by the time you get to business rescue, you can see that the writing is on the wall. The writing is on the wall that it is now lights out. But of course, we live in hope. We hope that somewhere, someone is planning what this must mean. Because, you know, this is like business rescue. I doubt very much that it was made yesterday or 2 days ago. I've said before on this show that I want to understand what was the big agenda and whether the current board, right, was given a mandate to round off SAA in line with what Tito Mboweni has been saying for months, that he wants to sell the thing off. We just want people to be honest. We just want people to be transparent. And it looks like it's a habit where it comes to SOEs, for SOEs not to be transparent, to in fact be belligerent and not be open about what is going on. And now are subjected to all kinds of speculation and conjecture. And it is quite clear to me that someone somewhere has had a plan to say, we need to sell this thing off and get it off our backs. Yeah. And it is clear that it is only going one way, which is to drain the fiscal a better way. I wonder whether in the midst of all of these tactics that are being deployed now of business rescue and so on, that there is a private sector company that is waiting to grab SAA for a song. Of course, we'll get to know that in the next couple of weeks, because these things, unfortunately, don't remain a secret for too long. It will be interesting to know who is involved in that new equity partner, what their linkages are to the business people here in South Africa, in both in business or in politics. Because these things we know, they get predetermined somewhere in some smoke-filled rooms. We're not naive to think that there will be such a transparent process that's innocent. It's nothing like that. At least in the South African context of state capture and corruption, we know better than to expect an innocent process, but we should save South African Airways. Similarly, at Eskom, interesting conversation I had there with Chris Helland yesterday that raised the issue about transparency. And one of the things that I believe maybe Eskom is trying with much difficulty to be transparent about is how on earth they failed to find a black chief executive to run Eskom. And so we come across a clip, a quotation by Tito Mboweni. In 2006, he said, without a twinkle in his eye, I've sought to recruit many competent black people. And no sooner have we trained them than they leave. I get so upset. I'm stopping this recruitment of black people. I'm okay with my Afrikaners. They stay and they do the work. You know, in South Africa, sometimes you may think that you are in a movie. I've said many times that in South Africa, if you are a fiction writer, you are going to be out of business. Because the reality is much more interesting and intriguing. Here is someone who has been a governor of the Reserve Bank, somebody who has been in messaging when it comes to transformation. It's where transformation is painted as incompetence. So when we say, let's transform, people hear, oh, let's bring blacks who don't know what they're doing. And then when you zone into corporate South Africa, and I have been in that space where you sit in a boardroom full of white people who don't bother to recruit black people. And they say to you, hey, we can't find blacks, whitey. In a country that's 90% black, we can't find blacks, you know. Where can we find blacks? Oh, you can't find blacks. Have you found the Black Management Forum? No, who are they? How? But we said you can't find blacks. Like, you must go to these organizations that mobilize blacks. No, we don't know those people there. No, you won't. You won't know until you contact them. They'll give you CVs. We can't find blacks. Hey, then you come to, and it's an entire song. You come to enterprise development. There are companies that are sitting on billions, literally. They don't know what to do with it because they can't touch that money. That money is for enterprise development. They can't take it to dividends. That will become an audit finding. They can't do anything with it. They are just looking at it. They are sitting on it. We can't find black companies, whitey. We can't find them, man. We only find caterers. caterers and cleaners wages. But in our line of business, we can't find blacks, man. Oh, did you advertise for them? No, we can't advertise because we're going to have too many riffraffs. That is the story of our transformation. And then when you have somebody like a Tito Mboweni who moves from government and goes and be a chairperson of one of these private sector boards and then tweets this embarrassing quotation that says, oh, blacks, if you recruit them and you train them, they leave. And my question to you is, what if you don't train them and they stay? Are you going to be happy? You're going to be happy with an untrained black person who's hovering around incompetent in your corridors. It's bad what our leaders can spew sometimes. But on the issue of transformation, hey, they can fail us, these leaders. Look at their scope. Level 7 BEE. Level 7. Good level 7 is like Harikatali. The leadership is going to be white. The place is going to be run by white people. Their procurement is going to be from people who have been procuring through their grandparents in the 1940s, 50s. The new entrants can forget. Level 7 would be like, just showing the middle finger to the BEE project. And then, on top of that, you then say, oh, let's just appoint the white CEO because we can't find blacks, These blacks are very elusive. I mean, just now, some of them, just 27 of them refused the job. They refused the job because they're going to have to work with a Tito Mboweni who doesn't want to recruit blacks. They will be hired there. Then when they want to recruit black competent executives, they'll be told, I prefer my Afrikaners. So why should they take the job? It's bad, man. It's terrible. I'm in trouble. And this is the Minister of Finance. The one who's supposed to be enforcing that and telling his colleagues, listen, guys, I want to see set-asides in your procurement. I want you to tell me how many women companies you are getting, how many young people's companies you are getting in, how many black companies you are getting in. No. They are Twitter 2006. I love my Afrikaners white because they stay and they do a job. In a big meeting, I present, you say, this is what we're going to do, and so on with this company. And he says, like Tito, but are you going to stay to see it through? Are you going to stay to see it through? I said, no, I'm not going to stay to see it through. I'll stay if you do what is required. Don't stay as a token. You transform, you implement these things, you move from level 7 to level 1, I will stay. You resist, you come up with games, you use me as a token, you use me as a front, I leave. Why should black people stay for the sake of staying? Because a Tito Mboweni say, oh, but we trained you and you are leaving. It's a shame, actually. It's a shame for such a thing to come from a Minister of Finance. Hey, let's take a break. We're going to talk to the head of the SAU at 10 o'clock, but you can give me a ring and tell me what you think of the Joburg Mayor, the SAA, ESCOM, anything on your mind on 010-594-5140. Let's take a break now.